we ready to go? All right. I want to speak to you all on how to perform a basic preventative maintenance check on your car. I read some stats the other day. Did you know that the British American Auto Care Incorporation says that over 85% of vehicles today on the road actually require some sort of maintenance? There's $2 billion spent every year on vehicles due to neglect. This is not just because of basic need of repair, due to neglect. A vehicle is the #1 killer of humans from ages 1 to 44, and 2,600 of those deaths every year are caused due to neglect. Okay? So some things to do a basic preventive maintenance check on your vehicle. There's really 3 things you have to check out on your cars. You know, you can do this weekly, bi-weekly, however you want, but I would say the bare minimum is weekly, just to make sure your car's in good working order. Doing this check will actually help you catch issues before they become major issues. Okay, the first thing you want to check out is your lights. Okay, you want to make sure your lights work. So kind of turn them all on, do a walk around of your car, make sure all your headlights are on, make sure all of your rear tail lights are on, make sure your brights come on, make sure your flashers work. It's important that all of your lights are working, not to just avoid a ticket from a Texas police officer, but to also communicate to other drivers on your road. Your lights are your main form of communication. Okay, so without your lights working, nobody knows what the heck you're doing. And I can guarantee that every one of you have been in a car when somebody's light's not working and they're trying to go left and you're like, what are they doing? They're slowing down for no reason, and then they go left. Okay, so check your lights out. Make sure they work. Okay. The second thing is make sure you check your fluids. There's a lot of fluids to check under the hood of your car. So I brought some examples here to show you what they look like. First thing you want to check is your oil. Usually a yellow dipstick, and that says engine oil on it. 9 times out of 10. Unless you have a foreign car, it might be an orangish color. You want to look at your oil dipstick, and on your oil dipstick you have a little area where it says add on the bottom. Okay, it says add on the bottom, that has a little crosshatch section all the way to the top where it says full. You want to make sure your oil is in between there, in that cross-hatching section. If it's in the crosshatch, it's good to go. If it's low, you need to add oil. If it's too high, you probably need to take it in to get some oil removed, because too high is just as bad as no oil at all. The second thing you want to check is your coolant. Usually it's on a plastic reservoir. You'll find a little cap that says coolant on it. It shows like a little water wave form of stuff on it. You just want to look at that reservoir. There's usually a line on it that says low or high. Just make sure your coolant's in between there. Coolant keeps your engine cold, and it can, if not having any in there, it could cause it to overheat in the future. The next thing you want to check is your transmission fluid. This is the oddball of all the fluids in your car. All these fluids you normally want to check with the engine off. Transmission fluid you want to check with it running. There's 2 sections in the transmission dipstick. It's hot and cold. So if you haven't started your vehicle at all, there's a section where the fluid should be when the engine is cold while running. And if it's hot, there's another section up above that where it's hot while running. And you just want to make sure it's there. It's in that operating range. Make sure it's running and the vehicle's in park. Don't put it in a gear and get out of your car and go look under the hood. It could cause some serious pain. And lastly, the thing you want to check under the hood is your brake fluid. Usually it's a little cap, has a yellow stop sign symbol on it, and it'll tell you what type of fluid it is. This came off of a car that had DOT3 brake fluid. Brake fluid is actually very unique in the car, as your brakes are important, and your fluid is what propels your brakes to close and stop the vehicle. Your brake fluid is also a good indicator whether you have a leak in your brake system or you need new pads. A lot of people make the mistake to see their brake reservoir is low, and they think, oh, I need more fluid, when in all actuality, it's probably just your pads are getting low. And so that's also a good indication of where your brake pads are. And so make sure those are full as well. The last thing is you want to check your tires and wheels out. I have an example tire here. On the tire, you want to make sure the tire pressure is good. So you check this little valve stem here, you roll it off, and you put your air pressure gauge on. You want to make sure your tire is in spec with what the manufacturer recommends. There is a tire pressure on the outside of the tire that says the maximum the tire can hold. That is not the pressure you put in to the tire. You put in what is on your manufacturer specifications, which you can find inside your driver's door It'll tell you exactly what to put in the tire. If you overfill the tire, due to the heat and friction on the road, it could explode, which is a lot of the tire failures on Texas roads today. The second thing you want to check is your tire tread. Make sure it's deep enough and thick enough. If you have a small tire that has no tread on it, it won't propel water out of the tire, and it will cause you to hydroplane when wet conditions. The easiest way to do that is to take a penny, put it upside down in the tread. If you can see the top of Abraham Lincoln's head, it is too thin and you need a new tire. Lastly, you just want to look over the tire and make sure there's no cracks or splits. In this tire, you can see this tire has a lot of really bad splits. It has received damage, so this is not a good tire. After checking that, that is a basic preventative maintenance check on your vehicle. If you do that, at least weekly, I would say, you can really prevent a lot of major issues that happen in the future and not be one of those 85% of vehicles that need maintenance and you don't know it. Thank you.
Very good.